What's up and welcome back to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Friday, January 6th, 2023. Saying January 6th, like,
Hey, I know, right?
like, whoa,
it's like, oh,
whoa.
God, no,
Yeah,
not again, not again.
Of course, I'm Tim Geddes, and I'm joined by the new face of video games, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Tim, we are T-minus 9 days from HBO's The Last of Us.
Oh, I am so excited. Hey, actually, that's a good time to announce that we're going to be doing The Last of Us coverage live at 9 a.m. every single Monday. So everyone watch it on Sunday night and then join us live at 9 a.m. It's going to be great.
Let's go. Who's going to be on that?
It's going to be me. It's going to be you.
Oh, let's
It's going to be Greg Miller.
Oh,
It's going to be a fun time. That'll be the consistent core cast for all 9 episodes, which I'm really, really excited about. Excited to get you on some entertainment coverage, which is a rare appearance for you, but it's always good. Always good.
I always love when I get to come through to youtube.com, so it's kind of funny. Because usually that means I get to be on the same podcast with Nick.
Yes.
But not this time, because Nick's apparently not on this one. But I'm still excited. I'm still happy.
It's going to be great for everybody involved. Also, sorry that we're a little late today. It's because the storm, the atmospheric river, the moisture plume, as Blessing's been calling it, has just completely destroyed San Francisco. We're okay. Everything's going great. The studio is now back, but because we came in having to figure out how to turn everything back on and get things set, took a little longer than we wanted it to. Shout out to Barrett and Kevin for holding down the fort and making all the magic happen. But we're here now. No fear now. Today's stories include Bungie working on a number of unannounced projects, Starfield playtesters reportedly being impressed by the game. That's good news. And more, because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. We're each and every weekday live at 10 a.m. on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. You can watch us run you through the nerdy news that you need to know about. If you're not watching live, you can correct us when we get stuff wrong by going to kindafunny.com/you're-wrong. And remember, you can use the Epic creator code KindaFunny on all Epic Store and Epic in-game purchases, and at no extra cost to you, we get some money. It's pretty cool. It's a sweet deal, if I do say so myself. To be part of the show, you got to go to kindafunny.com/KFGD to write in with your questions, squad ups, and more. And remember, patreon.com/kindafunny will get you the show ad-free plus a bevy of bonus content. Now, before we even get into housekeeping, I just want to say real quick that our lives were changed last night. Why is that, Bless?
Because we went and we watched Megan.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, that movie's something else.
Mm-hmm.
It lived up to the trailer.
It did.
It lived up to the hype.
It did.
How are you feeling right now?
Oh,
post Megan.
I mean,
are your lives changed? Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Megan is one of those once in a lifetime type movies where you're just like you see the trailer and you're just like, this is absolutely ridiculous and this is so funny, and there's no way the movie is worth watching, right? You're just like, this trailer's hilarious, but there's no way the movie's gonna live up to it. It did. It just absolutely did. This needs to be a franchise. I can't wait for Megan's.
Oh, you think they're gonna get a Megan's?
I think
plural.
We're getting Megan's, baby.
My favorite thing about Megan is that, you know, I gave Roger and Leanza a ride home, and during that ride, like, most of what we talked about was just like, all right, what is the next movie gonna be?
Yeah.
Right? Like, is it gonna be this? Is it gonna be that? Like, I don't want to spoil anything. I'll talk to you off air about some ideas, but like, the sky's the limit for the Megan franchise right now.
It's gonna.
Because I think this movie is. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by this movie and actually like really enjoy it. And I think as the year goes on, there's gonna be more and more discussions about like, yo, where the fuck, like, where do we go from here?
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Now, the thing for people that don't know, Megan is a horror movie, but it is more cabin in the woods than it is anything else. Like, it's more like it's campy as hell.
Oh yeah.
But it commits and it does it well. And like, overall, like, I'd say it's a good horror movie. Like, it's not the scariest thing ever, but like, it is totally worth watching, and it's definitely one of those movies that the more people you watch it with, the more fun it is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's definitely a theater movie. So definitely check it out with all the friends that you have. You know, that's how things. It's nice to have a friend.
It's nice to have a friend, Tim.
It's nice to have a friend. Game of the Year is happening, everybody. This Monday, we're going live right here on YouTube and Twitch at 10 a.m. Pacific with a live Gamescast that you are not going to want to miss. It's going to count down our top 10 of the year. And it's going to be me, it's going to be Blessed, it's going to be Andy, Greg, Snowbike Mike, and Janet Garcia, and Paris Lilly, and Barrett running the show and chiming in when he wants to. But all of us sitting here at this table. It's going to be a great time. The most people we've ever had on one actual in-person podcast. I'm excited for that. And we have a whole bunch of really fun surprises in store in terms of the production design. We've never put this much effort and work into the set and design of a show before. So I'm really excited to see how this all goes. So
I'm excited to see what our picks end up being. Because like last year was one of those ones where I probably could have predicted what our top 10 was going to be. Like, of course, It Takes Two was going to be there. Of course, not the order of it, but like what would be in it, right? Like we knew Returnal would make it. We knew Forza would probably make it. We knew Halo Infinite was going to make it. We knew Life is Strange was going to be in there. This year, past the top 3, maybe. Like I'm not even sure if I know what the third game is, but I can predict maybe 3 games that are going to be in there, 2 for sure. And then past that, I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Because this is one of those years where I think we all just played our own different games, right? That all spoke to us in different ways.
It made me really worried about, when votes were coming in of like, how split are we going to be? Because last year it was famously known that we had 11 games in our top 10 because there was a tie at some point. And I was like, are we about to have like 4 or 5 ties on this top 10? I got really worried, let me tell you.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, the way we do our Game of the Year is we submit all of our lists, our top 10s to Barrett, and he calculates the numbers and doesn't tell us. So we don't know what the list is going to be, and you're going to find out live as we do. It's always a fun time, and it's going to be bigger and better than
And if
ever.
you get scared about, does Barrett change his vote? No, the rule I give myself, I have to have my top 10 solidified before the first vote comes in. So I'm not allowed to touch it after whoever voted first, who this year, it was Paris.
Hell,
wow.
Yes. And the fun doesn't stop there, Bless. Why is that?
Because the Blushing Show is back. That's coming through. That's coming out on Wednesday. Before we were talking about it coming out on Tuesday, but there's been a moisture plume happening in San Francisco, which has delayed it by 1 day. And so look out for that Wednesday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. It's going to be the non-Game of the Year episode, which is basically like my alternative Game of the Year awards, where of course, we did our this last week for Kind of Funny Gamescast. We did Best Story, we did Best Moment. The non-Game of the Years are very much like, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's very much the alternative categories that you wouldn't expect your Jeff Keighley's or your IGNs to give out. And so look forward to that. I think it's a very fun episode recapping 2022 as a year.
Very excited to see it myself. And a new PS I Love You XOXO is up right now, going through a list of all the games coming to PlayStation in 2023. You can go find that on podcast services and YouTube and all the normal places. Thank you to our Patreon producer, Delaney Twining. We love you. Thank you so much. Today we're brought to you by Honey, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 6 stories today.
A baker's dozen.
Starting with a fun one, Bungie is working on a number of unannounced projects with Sony. This comes from Tom Ivan at VGC. Bungie creative lead Tom Farnsworth has said that the studio is working on a number of unannounced projects with parent company Sony. Farnsworth said in a Twitter post that the studio has completely changed how it develops games and does business over the course of 25-plus Destiny content releases, moving from strictly boxed products to live service games. He continued, and with the support of Sony, we're working on a number of unannounced projects too. In addition to its ongoing work on Destiny 2, Bungie said in February 2021 that it planned to bring at least one new IP to market before 2025. And last June, the studio was acquired by PlayStation maker Sony for $3.6 billion. I like calling them PlayStation maker.
PlayStation maker
PlayStation maker Sony. Interesting, Bless, right? Like, what do you think's going on here?
I mean, I don't think this is surprising, right? Because we've known Bungie's been working on some new stuff, right? That's not Destiny. I think what's interesting is looking at the actual tweet that comes from Tom Farnsworth on Twitter, right? The senior design lead at Bungie, who he tweeted out this shield, and he tweeted a picture of the shield. I think it's in the doc bear if you want to look for it and bring it up. This shield is what 11 years at Bungie looks like. Each medal represents one of the 25-plus Destiny releases we've shipped to millions of players. During that time, we completely changed how we develop games and do business, moving from strictly boxed products to live service games. And with the support of Sony, we're working on a number of unannounced projects too. Come join us. Also, obviously, I'm missing a medal. My kids played with the shield a while back, and I'm still looking for it, LOL.
That's really funny.
And I think the wording here is interesting, right? Because he says projects specifically. And as we know, Sony acquired Bungie, probably partly due to the success of Destiny, right? Probably due to the bright future you imagine for Bungie, but then also due to Bungie's expertise in live service games. Sony, PlayStation, the PlayStation maker, wants to double down, right? Wants to lean into making live service games. They announced that they're working on at least 12 games, right? They're all going to be online live service products. And so you want somebody like Bungie on your team to help you out, right? Whether it is PlayStation figuring out infrastructure in terms of connectivity, making a service to where all the stuff can work together. Maybe having Bungie work with other studios like Naughty Dog on Factions, or work with Sucker Punch on maybe a Ghost of Tsushima thing, right? In the way that you saw Guerrilla Games work with Kojima Productions on the Decima engine, right? And making sure that was a thing that they can collab on. PlayStation studios are very collaborative when it comes to technology, when it comes to how they go about making the processes for their games. And so I think maybe one of these projects could be a non-game thing, right? Maybe it could be them working on an actual service for Sony to make sure that stuff goes smoothly. But aside from that, we talked about recently Marathon and how it is rumored that Bungie could be bringing back Marathon. Right before this episode, I was doing some digging, and there's another rumor about a new IP called Matter that Bungie might be working on, right? And this I'm pulling from Game Rant, Jessica Barnes. This was published December 11th in 2022, so just a few weeks ago, where they wrote, Bungie, a studio renowned for its links to the Halo and Destiny franchises, looks like it'll be taking a step away from its established series and creating a new IP with a very different focus. So far, there are still plenty of questions surrounding the mysterious Matter and what it might entail. But with rumors and speculation encircling the work in progress for years, Bungie's next big project has started to take shape. Even the whisper of a new game from a big studio is going to get fans riled up, and it's inevitable that there will be a deluge of theorizing to accompany any rumors or leaks, however unsubstantiated. Players will try to guess what the new game could be, from its style to its scope, but usually there isn't much behind this type of guesswork, although sometimes new information can come from some fairly trustworthy sources or be patched together by eagle-eyed gamers, and it can help shine a light on what games like Matter on games like Matter before a studio makes its own official announcements. Bungie has been around for several decades, creating games, and they go on to talk about who Bungie is. And then players were instantly speculating about what this new IP could be, and a few months later, were potentially able to put a name to it when Bungie filed a trademark for Matter, with Bungie's stated intention to continue work on the world of Destiny, but to also expand new worlds to come. Fans were left with plenty of questions about what this could mean, and then they go on. But I think it's the idea of that could possibly be the next step in terms of what Bungie's live service pursuit could be, right? Destiny is established. Destiny is concrete. Destiny, I imagine, is going to live for a very long time. And I think right now that is basically on autopilot for Bungie. They have the team. They know what they're doing. They're putting out updates. Lightfall is coming in February. I think that's good. What is our next Destiny? What is our next live service thing? Is it going to be an MMO shooter like Destiny, or is it going to be what seems to be a squad-based extraction game like Marathon, or whatever Matter is? I think that's what they're doing right now. I think they're exploring, trying to figure out what the next big thing is going to be for them.
I remember there was rumors of a Diablo type experience as well. Maybe that could be what the Matter thing is, and maybe that's just people lumping in like what are live service games as we know them currently, and what even could Bungie be doing. What I find interesting here is Bungie saying in February 2021 that it plans to bring at least one new IP to market by 2025. Bringing to market means like releasing. Yeah. So we're due an announcement of whatever that game is, if that is still on track, right?
I imagine so. I mean, PlayStation Studios has so many games that I'd say they have in their pocket that could be announced, that could be shown off, and it's that thing of fans are getting more and more antsy for a PlayStation showcase. And in discussions that we've had on PS Love and previous Games Dailies, you know, there wasn't a PlayStation showcase this last September. Why is that? Is it because, hey, you don't want to distract from God of War coming out in November? I think that would probably be a very good reason, right? Why you would hold that and keep it until maybe early this year, maybe later this year, right? Maybe you just skip this last year altogether. But with that, you know, what is Ben Studio working on? What is Haven Studio working on? What is the Deviation Studio working on? What is Sucker Punch's next game, right? I imagine it's the next Ghost of Tsushima. When are we going to see it? There's so much for PlayStation to talk about, and I would say that then extends to Bungie as well, where I would imagine that a likely place you would see the next Bungie game would be at a PlayStation showcase. And so I could see the next PlayStation showcase having it. But, you know, PlayStation is in this interesting place right now where now you are acquiring more. Now there is so much to talk about. Last of Us Factions, or at least the last update we got on Last of Us Factions was at a Jeff Keighley event. And so who knows where we see Bungie's next game. But I would imagine that, yeah, if it's really due to come out before 2025, then we should hear about it this year or next year at the latest.
I mean, yeah, for sure. So what's interesting there is imagine the Bungie logo coming up at a PlayStation showcase, the excitement that we would have, because it's like we would know it's not Destiny. We're about to get something new, and I think that's really cool. And yeah, especially with the rumors and conversations about a Marathon, like I think that's a interesting prospect for sure. Like I remember playing Marathon back in the day when I was really into Halo, wanting to know like where it came from, right? So I remember having to figure out how to get it playing on my computer because it was an older game and it was like so complicated. But there was a cool world in Marathon, and like the ethos of Bungie, you can totally draw a straight line from Marathon all the way through Halo through to Destiny as well. And Andy's always praising Destiny for the quality of its world and design and the aesthetic of it all. But on top of that, just how good it feels. Like they just know how shooters should feel. And I'm interested how that translates to other genres and how that can translate to these different experiences that whatever they got going. A question I have for you, because I saw someone bring this up in the chat that I was like, is Bungie a PlayStation studio or does Sony own Bungie?
Bungie, I believe, is a PlayStation studio. And you can kindoffunny.com/you're wrong me. But even during the CES presentation a couple days ago, I was watching that, and in the PlayStation Studio reel, Destiny was in there, which is the thing that I took note of. I was like, oh shit, like they are starting to treat Destiny as a PlayStation Studios game, right? I think that that is how they are looking at Bungie. So yeah, technically they are a PlayStation studio, but I don't think it's going to feel like that until maybe they announce the next game. They're not. Interesting.
The chat's saying SIE owns Bungie. They're not PlayStation Studios. And like,
interesting.
That's just it's interesting, right? Like that's like a funny little wrinkle to this. And I wonder what that means. I mean, just it's a silly thing to say, but obviously Destiny is multi-platform. And I imagine that they're going to continue to be that way as they grow.
Oh yeah.
But I would imagine that whatever Bungie does next will not be multi-platform, will be PlayStation exclusive.
No, in statements that we've gotten, it seems like Bungie games are going to be multi-platform. When they were first acquired, that's one of the things they talked about is like, no, we want to stay multi-platform.
So then I wonder if that's why it's not PlayStation Studios. And to PlayStation Studios is exclusives. Because that is the case, see. Right? Like,
I mean, like,
whereas Xbox, they have exceptions, right, with Minecraft and things like that are Xbox Game Studios, but there are multi-platform. And then Bethesda, but that's a weirder situation because it was legacy deals.
I mean, Sony San Diego is the one I'll throw out there in terms of MLB The Show.
Oh yeah,
of course, that's them kind of
complications.
That's them having their hands forced. But
yeah, that is a PlayStation Studio.
I would bet that within coming years, you see Bungie make the transition to being a PlayStation Studio.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be my bet, just based on how PlayStation operates. Even them being under SIE. That's basically PlayStation Studios. Like, I mean, at that point, you're kind of getting into like, they're very much into like the nuts and bolts of like what is PlayStation Studio versus what is not a PlayStation Studio. But like, you're close enough there, and I think Sony would want to prop up Bungie as like hey, this is one of our premier studios. I think that would be the smart move for Sony. And it's hard for me to imagine that Jim Ryan and Herman Hulst aren't sitting there being like, yeah, like how do we lump this in, right? How do we make this a Naughty Dog, Insomniac, Bungie conversation in terms of what our studios are, because I think you need that, especially.
God, it's so funny to think that like they need to do that because back in the day, Bungie was that.
Yeah,
Bungie was like one of the biggest names, and now, I mean, not to say that they're not, but I mean they're not on the same level.
Of course, I mean just in terms of I think it would be stronger on the PlayStation side rather than the Bungie side. On the Bungie side, they want to remain independent because they were under Microsoft, right, or at least like they were partnered with Microsoft. And independence was how they were able to make a Destiny, right? And then being acquired by Sony.
Well, Activision, right? And then leaving that,
and then leaving Activision. Yeah, that's right.
What a journey.
Yeah, right. But like now being under PlayStation, I think they'll still want that independence. And in the statement they made originally, they talked about that. Hey, just because we're acquired by Sony doesn't mean that we're not still Bungie. We're not still operating in our own way, right? This is a partnership in the way that being acquired is a partnership, you know what I mean? But yeah, on the PlayStation side, I think it would benefit PlayStation so much to have something like Bungie because you're probably about to lose Call of Duty, right? Of course, there's deals being made. Maybe you'll have Call of Duty for the next 10 years, but as time goes on, you are missing out on one of the biggest first-person shooter franchises in the industry, and this is happening more and more with acquisitions from Microsoft. I think having Destiny in your pocket and going, this is something that we'll never lose, and this is something that we're treating as our own, and that we can use as a thing to hype up our audience whenever we do have a PlayStation showcase would be powerful for them.
Yeah, it would be. You know what would be powerful for Xbox?
What's that?
If Starfield was good. Story number 2, Starfield playtesters are reportedly loving the game. This comes from Joshua Duckworth at Game Rant. Starfield playtesters are reportedly enjoying the upcoming Bethesda RPG, with even pessimistic folk allegedly coming away with strong, good first impressions. In short, many seem to think that Bethesda has nailed Starfield's scale, as well as its general size and ambition compared to Fallout. This information comes way of the XNC podcast and host Colt Eastwood, who claims to have a channel of people connected to people playtesting the game. Of course, this means the information is somewhat removed from Eastwood himself, but he claims this information pipeline has alerted him to potential issues with games in the past, such as the bugs for Cyberpunk's launch. All in all, it should be taken with a grain of salt, even as Eastwood says he doesn't want to oversell Starfield, but even pessimists walking away impressed would be a good sign. However, that's about as deep as this goes. Starfield supposedly takes everything Bethesda has done in the Fallout and Elder Scrolls franchises, doubles down on them, and improves them. Many have been understandably worried about the hundreds of star systems as well as the thousands of planets in Starfield, but it seems that the scale of the game has gotten some praise. This bodes well, especially given the reportedly good impressions about its ambitions in story, gameplay mechanics, and wherever else this is implied. In fact, Eastwood believes that Starfield is close to being ready for launch, saying he wouldn't be surprised if it dropped before Redfall. Reportedly, Redfall's been delayed internally by about 6 weeks, given the nature of the beast that is game development, but reports have pointed to Redfall releasing in May. What?
Interesting.
I always thought, in my head, Starfield was going to be in before Redfall anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I
just,
don't know why I thought that, but that was just like, I always thought Starfield would be the first thing, and then it would be Redfall.
well, I think I think the reason why people have that the other way around was because Redfall was originally announced to come out, was it summer last year, and then Starfield was supposed to come out in
Yeah.
November. So when they both got delayed, people were like, "Oh, well, Starfield's still going to come out later."
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's interesting because looking at the Xbox, whatever they called it, showcase thing during the Summer Game Fest time period.
Not E3.
God damn it, dog. Figure this shit out.
It was like, okay, E3 was canceled, so I guess it's Summer Game Fest, but it wasn't. Xbox wasn't connected to Summer Game Fest, so I was going to call it Summer Game Fest period. I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. Last year, Xbox did a thing around June.
They're showcasing June.
And they said that all the things we're seeing will come out in the next year, right? So we were, I saw Ryan McCaffrey talking about it. It's like, I mean, we're halfway through that time period, right? So we've seen some of the DLC updates. We've seen some things here and there, Pentiment, things like that. But it's like, there's a lot there that is not accounted for. So we're going to either start getting release dates or we're going to start getting delays, right? Where's your head at with Redfall and Starfield?
Oh, man. You know, like, I don't know anymore, man. I think, I don't know how I feel about the move to say everything we announce here is coming out in the next 12 months, because the further we get into the year, the more I feel like that might have been a backfire. Because right now, the audience is expecting Redfall, Starfield, and Hollow Knight Silksong all to come out within the next 6 months. And maybe that happens. It's not like that's
And
Forza, right? Like maybe that all happens, but is that a commitment that was really worth making when now we're here and people just have question marks in terms of, all right, so where's the dates? Like, where are these games coming out? Starfield has been delayed multiple times. Do I really believe it's coming out when it doesn't have a release date right now?
Starfield is going to come out in November this year.
You think it's going to come out in November?
I mean, just, am I wild for saying that? Like, that just feels right to me.
I mean, I don't...
It's
I think
just
it
like
could
one
happen.
of those weird things where it was such a big delay, similar to Halo, right? Where it was a big delay of Starfield getting pushed out of November 11th because they were trying to hit the 10-year for Skyrim. And then they, for Xbox, right, they're like, all right, all of these games that we're showcasing coming in the next 12 months, and then you're going to push Starfield even further than that? No, I think, like, that game's got to come in the first half.
But you know what's more important than that? Get the game right.
Yeah,
that's true.
Here's the thing.
I do also wonder internally of like how many employees heard within the next 12 months for the first time at the same time that we did. Like, was that like a higher up decision of like, let's get this hype moment of all of these games in the next 12 months? And then like, I wonder how many employees like watched that and were like,
it was like, oh shit, really?
Wait, that's the first time I'm hearing this kind of shit.
Here's the thing, right? Like Xbox saying that these games are coming out in the next 12 months strikes me similarly to when PlayStation was like, God of War Ragnarok is coming out in 2021, where they knew that game wasn't coming out.
I do think that there's a difference, and I would need to look at the entire list of games to really stand by this, but like, I feel like it was a much safer bet for Xbox to say all these are coming out in a year back then. Now it's starting to feel a little iffy just based on what we have or haven't heard about Starfield. But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe they're about to start the rollout plan and all of our concerns here are going to be quelled instantly.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, here, we see it. It looks great. I mean, if this news story, rumor story that we're talking about here is right, maybe then it's going to hit in May or whatever.
This is what I'll say. I have more faith in Starfield coming out in the next 6 months than Redfall. Redfall is one where I just don't know where I land on how ready that game feels. And like maybe this comes down to maybe there's an Xbox showcase that's about to happen in the next couple of months that shows their hand and shows, hey, no, this is where everything lands. But Starfield, just earlier this week, they put up a post on their website that's like, yeah, no, this is coming in the first half of 2023. And so at least as of the beginning of this week, there's somebody confident somewhere in Bethesda being like, yeah, no, this is gonna hit. And of course, this story that we just read is a very much a take this with a grain of salt kind of story. But yeah, if this is true, then why not? Starfield has been in development since how long? Like Fallout 4 came out in 2015. Fallout 76 came out a few years after that. 2018.
And I remember like they announced Starfield when I was at IGN too.
Like that game has been in development for a while, and you mentioned that getting it right is the more important thing. And I think a delay out of November last year was probably an exercise in let's get this right. Let's put this out possibly in April, May area.
I mean, at some point, Xbox is going to start releasing games, and they're going to be the domino.
At some point.
And when I pulled up that image too, it's like, damn, like if they do hit it, like looking at it again because it's not all first party stuff, right?
Exactly.
It's like, okay, like yeah, I could see this.
Is there a way you can enlarge the 2023 part of the image?
Because
I'm curious to see.
Great looking image. It's very.
No, this is perfect.
Yeah,
because looking through Diablo 4 has a date. It's Redfall, who knows? Starfield, who knows? Forza Motorsport, Minecraft Legends. I imagine that's DLC, right, or something like that.
No, that's the new because it was Minecraft Dungeons. Legends is like a whole other thing.
Wolong Fallen Dynasty that has a date that's coming in February. Stalker 2 has a date coming out soon. Flintlock, I don't know if that has a date. I don't think it does.
Yeah, I don't think we've heard anything since then.
Aiden Chronicle, I feel like that might already be out. No, what does that say? That says Game. Oh, that says Game Pass. Yeah. I'm sure that's going to come out. League of Legends, Wild Rift, Valorant, all that stuff is part of a deal. Resident Evil 4 has a date. Persona 3 and 4 have a date.
Replaced is the one where like we just don't know. Like I think we all expect it to not hit
it's like one of those like with those developers, like we understand.
Yeah.
You guys are dealing with a bunch of shit over there. Like, just take the time you need.
I think I might have said Wolong February. I think I meant March instead. But then Dead Space has a date. Cocoon, I don't think has a date, but I could see that coming through.
And the last case of Benedict Fox, I forgot that.
Remember
was a game
that one?
exists,
so excited for that.
And that game is going to be like Tim. That's going to be a fucking you and me ass game this year. I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, between that, Ravenlock, and then whatever that game, Shadow Legacy, whatever that is, I can see some of the
Ereban Shadow Legacy.
Ereban Shadow Legacy. I feel like not all of you will see the first half of 2023. I'll tell you that right now. But it's not overcommitting. I don't think.
I think that the majority of them will. Like my gut right now tells me I think I'm a little bit different than what it sounds like you guys are. I think Redfall is going to hit in the first half. I think Starfield's not. But
wow,
that is just a
pizza bet.
That's the gut feeling.
It's just a gut feeling.
Honestly, I'm down with the pizza bet.
I'm down for a pizza bet. Fuck it.
All right,
what do I have to lose?
I'm saying Starfield hits first half, Redfall doesn't, and you're saying the reverse.
Reverse.
All right.
Yeah.
Take on it.
Love it.
Let's go.
All right, so we'll check in. Someone in the chat put a calendar reminder for what? The end of July? Is that
end of June? End of June.
End of June. Yeah.
Okay. End of June, please.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We shall see.
I mean, dude, I hope Starfield is fucking incredible. Like, I hope it blows people's minds. And I hope that it, like, gets everything on track.
I'm going to be so heartbroken if Starfield is not great. Like, I love Bethesda studio so much, right? Like, I love Fallout so much. Starfield looks like it's up my alley, even though during the E3 showcase, I was not as impressed as I wanted to be. That said, like, that game still looks like if it comes out the way they showed it, I'm going to play the hell out of it. Like, I'm just somebody who I want Bethesda to reach for the stars, right? But if they fall and land on the clouds, it's fine. I'll play something that's in the cloud system. I'll play a cloud game. Kojima, where you at?
Crackdown 3?
Not Crackdown 3.
And just someone in the chat was also like, what comes out? What happens if they both come out in the first half? I'll buy the pizza.
Yeah, but that's not the bet. The bet is
okay.
It has to be
one or the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
If both come out, then we're both wrong.
But
we're
then,
right. We're both right.
But then there's no pizza gained by anybody.
You're
and
right.
Therefore,
No,
let
Barrett
all losers.
Let Barrett buy the pizza.
And then I'll buy a pizza, and the three of us can share it.
And there's the deal, everybody.
Boom.
And there's the deal. You know what else is a deal?
Patreon.com.
Patreon.com/kindafunny, baby.
Hey.
If you go there, you can get the show ad-free. But for everyone else, here's some ads. Shout out to Honey for sponsoring this episode. Honey's the easy way to save when shopping on your iPhone or computer. Thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past, and we all know there's nothing better than the feeling of saving money. Honey's the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. Here's how it works. Imagine you're shopping on one of your favorite websites. When you check out, the Honey button appears, and all you have to do is click Apply Coupons. Wait a few seconds as Honey searches for coupons it can find for that site, and if Honey finds a working coupon, you'll watch the prices drop. We here at Kind of Funny have been using Honey for years, and it has literally saved us thousands of dollars on tech, costumes, food, you name it. Honestly, I just love how easy it is to just set and forget and save. Honey doesn't just work on desktops, it works on your iPhone too. Just activate it on Safari on your phone and save on the go. If you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this show. Get PayPal Honey for free at joinhoney.com/kindafunny. That's joinhoney.com/kindafunny. Story number 3, CD Projekt Red settles lawsuit over Cyberpunk 2077's rough launch for $1.85 million. This comes from Ryan Dinsdale at IGN. CD Projekt Red settled another lawsuit over Cyberpunk 2077's launch for $1.85 million. As reported by GameSpot, the settlement will see CD Projekt Red pay investors who bought stock between January 16, 2020 to December 17, 2020, settlement, administration costs, taxes, and attorney's fees, and more. Investors filed the class action lawsuit in 2020 claiming that CD Projekt Red hid the state of 2077 from them after the game launched, with several bugs that, at least on console, rendered the game unplayable for many. Multiple lawsuits were filed against CD Projekt Red following the game's launch, one of which was settled in December 2021 for the same figure. Cyberpunk remained riddled with bugs for several months and was completely removed from the PlayStation Store as a result, only returning in June 2021. How wild is that, Bless, that happened?
Dude, I was just thinking that. Like, remember when Cyberpunk got removed from the PlayStation Store?
Man, a couple days ago, we were talking about, it was on Gamescast. Amazing Gamescast, everybody. You should go check it out. We were talking about our best of 2022 stuff. And part of that, we were talking about, like, what are some of the biggest stories that have ever happened in video games and, like, specifically that we've covered. That was one of them.
Oh, for sure.
Right? The Cyberpunk launch and specifically the removal from the store.
Like, maybe one of the most anticipated games of all time.
Yeah.
Like, I would probably put it in that conversation.
Easy.
Gets removed from the PlayStation Store for over a year. Right?
Not
or
over
no,
a
for
year,
half
but
a
like,
year.
yeah. I mean, in between.
Somewhere in that. Yeah, crazy.
CD Projekt Red has since updated the game several times, however, leading to somewhat of a resurgence of its player base. And I mean, not somewhat, I'd say a major resurgence of its player base, and even Steam's Labor of Love Award earlier in January that we covered on this show. What do you think, Bless?
I mean, interesting story because I totally forgot about the lawsuit that that was going on. But like them settling the lawsuit for $1.85 million gives me like the feel of paying off your student loans. I feel like they're like, oh, thank God, we finally have the shackles off. We can finally move on with our lives. God damn, like what stress student loans can be. But yeah, I guess good for you, CD Projekt Red.
Yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah, and hey, it's settled. It's over. So cool. Let's just move forward. Hope for the best. I hope that what's it called? Phantom Liberty.
Phantom Liberty. Yeah.
Phantom Liberty. I hope it is absolutely spectacular. I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for Starfield. Let's just go. Let's
go.
Just root for some good video games. Bless.
Oh, man, that's what I'm talking about. What are the chances like Starfield comes out and Xbox is like, nah, man, get this off the store.
No, don't put that out in the world.
Game,
don't do that.
They have to sue themselves.
Yeah, they're like, ah, shit, we fucked up, man. We fucked up. Phil Spencer putting Phil Spencer in timeout. Damn.
Oh, damn. Oh, story number 4. Vampire Survivors dev had to release their mobile port to fight copycats. This comes from Brendan Sinclair at gamesindustry.biz. Vampire Survivors launched on Android and iOS last month, but Poncle developer Luca Galante had intended to bring the breakthrough hit to mobile platforms considerably earlier. In an update to the game's Steam store page, Galante discussed the process of bringing it to mobile, saying, "Soon after the initial success of Vampire Survivor, I started to look for a business partner to work on a mobile version of the game. Unfortunately, nobody I spoke with was on board with the monetization I had in mind for the platform. Non-predatory." Poncle spent months unsuccessfully looking for a partner, but eventually opted to handle the mobile port in-house when a large number of actual clones, not games like Vampire Survivors, but actual one-to-one copies with stolen code, assets, data progression started to appear everywhere. This forced our hand to release the mobile game ASAP and put a lot of stress on the dev team that wasn't even supposed to worry about mobile in the first place. The mobile version of Vampire Survivors reflects the monetization model Galante had in mind. It's free to play, and players have the option of watching an ad at the end of their run to revive their character once and partially refill their health. They can also watch an ad after their run for extra gold that can then be used to unlock or upgrade characters. If you're like me, then you wanted Vampire Survivors on mobile, you'd have been happy to just pay a couple bucks for it and call it a day. But the mobile market doesn't work like that, and by making Vampire Survivors a paid app, I'd have cut out completely a lot of new players from even trying the game. This is why we ended up with a free for real approach where monetization is minimal and is designed to never interrupt your game, always be optional and in your control through a couple of watch ad buttons, and doesn't have any of that real money sinks that mobile cash grabs are usually designed around. Galante added that Poncle is working on Poncle?
I don't know.
Poncle. P-O-N-C-L-E. I'm just going to go with Poncle. Is working on cloud saves and save transfers for the mobile version. It's also looking to bring the legacy of the Moonspell DLC to mobile, but hasn't decided on how to release or monetize it yet.
A couple things about this, Tim. Mm-hmm. One, Mythic Quest has ruined me. Mm-hmm. Because like when you got to the line where he says, "Unfortunately, nobody I spoke to was on board for the monetization I had in mind for the platform. Non-predatory." That is such a quote taken out of Mythic Quest.
Hell yeah.
And then also the free for real instead of free to paid. Again, taken straight out of Mythic Quest, but like shout out to like the recontextualizing of those buzz terms. And then
there was a line in Mythic Quest that I really enjoyed, where someone was pitching a game and they're just like, yeah, it's like nothing you've ever seen before, but it's also kind of like Halo.
So yeah, that's first and foremost. And then the second thing is, man, how different the mobile space is from just the traditional console and PC space for video games in terms of, yeah, like I could put out Vampire Survivors for probably $3 on the mobile store, but people aren't going to buy it because it's the mobile store. Like, how crazy is that that's how that works on mobile? But like, shout out to Galante for like sticking to the vision and being like, no, like I'm not going to settle for predatory microtransactions, right? Like I have a vision for how I want to put out this game so that people don't feel like they're getting nickeled and dimed, and they committed to it, and yeah, now it's out. So like, good for them. And also, like, how fucked up is it that people can just straight up put up clones?
Dude, I mean, that's it. There's so much messiness with all this, but at the end of the day, shout out to them. They're about to make bank from this, and they're making bank, well-deserved bank, the right way. I love that we're in an era that there's mobile games coming out that are very high-quality games with sensible monetization, and that isn't too egregious, that's going to result in those games being supported for years to come and to be made better and better and better. That is not the majority of the cases, but I do like that it seems like there are more examples of that than ever before. And even those examples aren't perfect. Even this, I'm sure people would have issues with for one reason or another. And the reality is, games get made differently when you realize how much money is being made, even in the right way, right?
Yeah.
Well, what does the next game look like? Does it involve more of this type of stuff, more enhancements that you don't need to do, but you know what? It'd be real nice. But even then, you don't need to pay. You're just watching an ad. I don't know. It's a complicated landscape, but it's the reality. And shout out to them for making it all happen. And it sucks that they have to deal with this type of bullshit and stress out the team and work harder on something not on their own timeline. They should be able to do their own things on their own timeline and not have to worry about their shit being stolen.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's one of those things where as players we don't have to think about, right? And like we have all these demands and asks like, why? Oh, where's the mobile game? Oh man, oh, why did the mobile game come out rushed? Oh, like why are you crunching? And like it can come down to these factors that you don't even think about in terms of, yeah, as a developer, I want to put my game on mobile, but like I want to do it the right way. Oh shit, people are putting out clones of my game. Now I really got to put it out. Otherwise, people are going to be confused and all, or people aren't going to buy my game when I actually put it out. That's a lot of stress. And yeah, once again, shout out to Galante and the team for figuring it out and probably being at a place now where they can not stress out as much about it. Yeah, good for them. I also wonder like how the mobile market is going to look 10 years from now, just in terms of, are we going to see more of the kind of games we want? You know, like we talk a lot about Marvel Snap, Vampire Survivors being on mobile is a big thing, right? And like we have those releases here and there where we're like, oh man, this is special, right? I like to think of games like Florence, and plenty of others where it's like, oh man, this is a dope ass mobile game. But then we've also had other games in recent years like Genshin, Call of Duty, Fortnite that come to mobile and feel like these full-fledged AAA experiences that you're playing on your phone. I wonder 10 years from now what all that's going to look like. Are we going to get fucking, I don't know, like Starfield on mobile? Like possibly? Like what does that look like?
No, but I do think that the everything might shift of what mobile means might change, and things might meet in the middle of like what a device is, if we even have game consoles, or if it is just kind of there's a cloud-based thing and you're just using screens as a way to interact with it. I don't know. I think that would be the big difference maker. Like,
I think that's already happening, right?
Exactly. But like making things like xCloud and Game Pass, if those can, the synergy of that could work together and just a way that it just works. It's not just it kind of works. It's like, no, it just fucking works.
It becoming ubiquitous. I think that's probably what Microsoft wants.
Real quick, I do want to say in terms of Marvel Snap, which is a game that I absolutely love, one of my favorite games of the year. I've played it every day since I've got my hands on it, and I don't see any end in sight to that happening. And I love the way that they monetize things for the most part in terms of the gameplay and all that. When it comes to the aesthetic stuff and it comes to the variant cards, when every update that they've had where they do these now, like there's like every 2 weeks or every month, like bundles you can buy and you get like exclusive cards. It's fucking bullshit. Y'all need to figure this shit out. The prices are insane, bless, where it's like they don't even tell you, like it's all, they do that dumb shit from like the old Xbox era and like Wii era where it's like you're not even talking about dollars, you're talking about like freaking googly moogly bucks or whatever the fuck.
I hate the googly moogly bucks.
And Marvel Snap has like 10 different economies in it where it's like, well, there's these blue credits and then there's the gold and then there's the tokens and then there's the this.
Let me tell you about
whatever.
Genshin Impact.
I mean, dude, but that's the thing, and it's like it's all just for aesthetics, like it's all just for like nice look, different versions of things that you can get for free in the game.
Yeah.
But doing them, like Sunspot is one of my main cards that I use. All right. Random ass fucking X-Men that nobody gives a shit about.
I thought it was Pokemon for a second.
and there's this variant card that I was like, oh, this looks dope. I want it. Doing the math to get this card, a couple freaking credits and stuff, like there's nothing valuable here. And it's like, 10,000 googly moogly bucks. And I'm like, what does that translate to? $80.
Jesus.
$80.
Did you
No, I didn't fucking do it, man. Like, no, I did not do that shit, man.
What are you thinking about it?
No, not at all.
You didn't consider it?
Not even for a second, man.
Right.
I pay $10 a month for this game, for the season pass, because I think I get great content out of that season pass, and they're making it worth it. They're making a great game. They need to figure out that shit.
So you're no Snow White Mike. Snow White Mike would have done that in a heartbeat. That's why I respect him.
Yeah. Go fuck yourself with your googly moogly bucks. Story number 5, NetEase acquires Canadian game studio SkyBox Labs. This comes from Jeffrey Rousseau at gamesindustry.biz. NetEase has announced the acquisition of Canadian game developer SkyBox Labs. Founded in 2011, the studio has co-developed titles such as Halo Infinite, Minecraft, and Fallout 76. SkyBox will continue to operate independently under the supervision of its founders. They say, we have built a team of talented individuals who are passionate and creative, and by joining NetEase Games, we will also be able to accelerate our plans to pursue new creative opportunities and enjoy access to world-class operational resources and the full breadth and depth of NetEase's services so we can scale faster in Canada. SkyBox will also continue to co-create games alongside existing and new partners. The new acquisition follows after NetEase ramped up its business operations in 2022. Back in January, it unveiled a new studio from veteran Yakuza producer and executive director Toshihiro Nagoshi. NetEase, man, they just out here.
They be acquiring.
Yeah. What do you think you and me and Greg Miller and the people in this building
will get acquired by NetEase? Probably, yeah.
We'll ever see anything from these NetEase acquisitions? Like, do you think that this is going to be more like one of those like, oh, that's huge for gamers out there, but not for like what we would call core gamers?
I mean, when I look through NetEase's games, they very much are speaking to specific markets, right? Like a lot of mobile games, they have some battle royales in here. They worked on Naraka Blade Point, which I believe like Mike and Andy played for a little bit. Dead by Daylight Mobile, they did work on. But it's a lot of stuff that doesn't speak broadly to everybody, right? Like they work on a lot of stuff that's very much of particular audiences, and they see a lot of success with that, right? Like the Lord of the Rings, Rise to War. There's a Knives Out game, but not the movie. It's Knives Out. Battle Royale, maybe jump into the ever tightening arena and do what it takes to be the last one standing. So it's a Battle Royale. Life After, Identity V, Harry Potter Magic Awakens, ZOZ Final Hour. I don't know if NetEase is making stuff that's gonna appeal to us, except for like probably those one-offs like Naraka. But also, they're an international company. I'm sure there's a big audience in like certain countries that are probably all about these NetEase games. But I think for me, this story just comes back to the general. This industry is in an acquisition phase right now. Everybody's getting acquired. Everybody's merging into somebody else. And like how all that results, we're gonna have to wait and see. A lot of it, I would say, is probably scary. Just for me, like general industry consolidation can be very scary, but also sometimes it can be great for when companies do good work together, and when it makes sense. I think consolidation can be useful, and I don't know how that'll work for SkyBox and NetEase, but I don't know. We'll see. Like SkyBox's things seems to be, they got additional resources, and with NetEase, with them making as many games as they make, it probably makes sense to acquire somebody who can help them just make more games and put more effort into them. But we'll have to see how that pans out ultimately for NetEase.
We will. Final story of the day, Deathverse Let It Die is going back into development. Thank you so much for the constant support of Deathverse Let It Die. It reads on the blog post, we're incredibly grateful to everyone who enjoys and enriches the game and its community. There's no doubt that we experienced some challenges since the launch of our game, particularly with regards to in-game matchmaking and lag. We deeply apologize for these issues that may have caused an inconvenience to our players. While we have tried various solutions to some degree of success, we've not been able to resolve the underlying problems. As a result, the development and operations teams have made the decision to temporarily suspend the game services while we redevelop Deathverse Let It Die. We'll be doing our utmost to prepare for the re-release so that our current community can enjoy the game alongside many more new players in the future. We greatly appreciate your understanding and support.
This is a wild one because Deathverse Let It Die came out like last year. It came out, and I don't know one person that played it. Like I know y'all are probably out there, but me personally, I don't know anybody.
Has anyone in the chat played this game? Let us know.
Because I booted it up when it went to open beta, I want to say, or maybe it was closed beta. And I played a little bit of it, and immediately I was like, no, I'm not feeling this. And I liked Let It Die, the original Let It Die game. That was the Suda51 joint. That was, I don't know if you remember Uncle Death, Tim.
No.
He was a skeleton guy, like a Grim Reaper character on a skateboard. They called him.
Yeah.
And he had an accent. He was cool. He was chill. It was like a free-to-play game that had Souls-like elements to it, but also had arcade elements to it. But then also had free-to-play trappings, not in a great way, where you had to keep paying to keep playing. And I thought that game was fun for a little bit, but I dropped off just because, after a while, I just wasn't into some of the free-to-play aspects of it. But yeah, Deathverse Let It Die was Grasshopper's attempt to kind of bring back that franchise in this now battle royale form, and it just didn't hit right. Like the format of it was weird because it wasn't like a large battle royale. It was like 12 players or something like that, and you're in this arena that is divided into areas, and then like areas would close and open, and like it would do the battle royale thing, but in a very different kind of weird way. And playing it was a lot more action heavy. It is not like you're picking up loot and finding new guns and finding new like loadouts for those guns. It is a hack and slash. You are chasing after people and trying to, tear them up with your chainsaw or whatever. And for me, it just wasn't that fun. I didn't enjoy it. And yeah, it came out, didn't see much people talking about it. And now they're like, hey, we're kicking this thing back into development. And June 18th is when it's actually being suspended to go back into redevelopment. I'm not seeing many stories like this where a game unreleases and then goes back into redevelopment. I would be surprised to see this come out again.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at. Because I mean, the last time I remember this happening of a game re-releasing or unreleasing this way was it Crucible? Kindoffunny.com / you're wrong. The Amazon game that came out and then not that much long later, unreleased, and then we never saw Crucible again. Deathverse Let It Die, for how unpopular it was, I would think that you're losing a lot more money redeveloping it and putting it out.
It's in the name, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Just let it die.
Errol M in the chat is the one person that played it that I saw, and they said it was fine.
Tomorrow Children is one that DJ brings up, and that was one that unreleased, and then like I don't think
released or whatever. It was supposed to come back out or something, right?
I believe it did, but also like when it ended, the plan wasn't to re-release it. I think it just ended, and then years and years later, the developer was like, "No, we want to find a way to bring this back," and so they eventually did. But this one, like Deathverse Let It Die, is like, "Yo, we're taking the game off on this is July 18th. We took this might be a typo. We're taking this game off on the 18th, and then we're gonna redevelop it and put it out." I don't believe it for a second, but hey, we'll see. Good luck to you is what I'll say.
Bless, you've talked to me about a lot of games that were unreleased, that are re-released. But if I want to know what games we're releasing in Mom and Grop shops today, where would I look?
You would look toward the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform, as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show host each and every weekday.
Still early in the year, so we only got one today. We are the caretakers on Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC.
I'd like to issue a you're wrong. The servers are being suspended indefinitely on July 18th.
Okay.
For some reason, I thought it was January 18th, but
you said June.
Or did I say June?
You're just throwing out all the J names.
I'm throwing out all those J names. You can't trust a J name. But yeah, July 18th is when the game is seemingly
Joey,
going
be
offline.
careful. New dates for you, though. Genshin Impact is kicking off 2023 with a fresh update as version 3.4 of the free-to-play game will go live on January 18th.
That's why I got confused. There you go.
There we go. I love it. Now I'm going to go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong to see what we got wrong. Sad Boy Barrett writes in. Is that you, Barrett?
Nope.
Nope. That's a motherfucker
That's the
out
same,
there.
Somebody's been doing that, right?
No, it's because for whatever fucking reason, I don't know who did this, but when you go to like the link, my username is the default thing that you can just write in with, and I don't like that.
Awesome.
I don't like that. Stop it.
Starfield's website says it's still coming the first half of this year. Yeah, we know.
We mentioned that.
We know. Minecraft Legends is Minecraft strategy game, says Nano. And Nano also says the Crucible from Amazon went from release to beta to canceled. Officially.
It's backwards. You know what I mean? Like you're supposed to not exist.
Not exist.
And then
go to beta.
And then you're released. Crucible, you got it wrong.
Oh, that's so great. Then we got some fun stuff for y'all. Next week, let's talk about the hosts, all right? Monday, there is no Games Daily because we're doing our Game of the Year Spectacular. I cannot hype this up enough. And again, fingers crossed the storm doesn't continue and ruin everything. But we are planning, we are hoping, we believe that at 10 a.m. Pacific, we're going to do an extremely fun, kind of funny production of Game of the Year. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be great.
We've improved it step by step every year for the last few years. And this is I think this is going to be a couple of steps.
Oh, yeah.
Since last year.
It's going to be sick. It's going to be sick. And then Tuesday, got some fun surprise hosts for you.
Whoa.
Well, I'm going to spoil the surprise now. Janet and Paris are going to host Games Daily in the studio, which is so exciting. Wednesday, we got Bless and Greg. Thursday, we have Greg and Stella hosting. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then Friday, it's me and Bless. We're going to do a little repeat it today.
Of course.
Bring the same energy.
Come back at it.
Like a bad habit. If you're watching live after this, we're doing The Raft with Mike, Andy, and Nick. I think that are they doing The Raft?
I don't know, man.
I don't. That's what I put in the stream title.
This is only accurate maybe 30% of the time.
They're going to be doing something, those jabronis. You know what I mean? They're going to have so much fun, and you can join them with that fun on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames or twitch.tv.
Here's the thing. I just got a notification. Mike just logged into Steam, and it says Mike is now Actually, let me double check to make sure that's not an embargo thing. Okay, this game is a game named Icarus, right? Released December 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike just logged into a game called Icarus, so take that for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Unless it's an embargoed game that's codenamed Icarus, who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Kid Icarus. God, I hope they really release that, make a new one. I don't even know. Anyway,
that was the rumor, right? Oh no, not a rumor. That was a request from Sakurai.
Yeah,
he was like, Nintendo, please remaster.
Figure the shit out.
Kid Icarus.
Figure it out, Nintendo. Uprising. Come on. Anyway, let us know in the comments below what you're gonna have for lunch. I want to know. I want to see. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy that lunch. I hope you enjoy your weekend. And I hope to see you next Monday when we do our Game of the Year show. But until then, I love you. Goodbye.